Today on Up Front, the candidates for Wisconsin Supreme Court, in depth and on the record, with voting now just days away. Attorney Tim Burns, Judge Rebecca Dallin, and Judge Michael Skrenak are here to make the case why they deserve your vote.
Covering the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Up Front with Mike Goucher.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Up Front. The first statewide voting of 2018 comes in just 10 days, on Tuesday, February 20th. That's when voters will decide which two candidates for Wisconsin Supreme Court move on to the April 3rd general election. Today, we have all three candidates with us for one final interview before the primary. Each candidate will have equal time, and we're talking to them in alphabetical order. Seems to make sense. We begin with Madison area attorney Tim Burns. He's with the Perkins Coie law firm, where he specializes in cases involving insurance companies. He graduated from the University of Missouri Law School. And Tim Burns, thanks very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I'm happy to be here.
So you have run a very different type of campaign. You have labeled yourself an unshakable champion of liberal, democratic, and progressive values. Is that appropriate in a race that is nonpartisan?
Very appropriate. And I want to make clear this isn't a campaign gimmick. It is a moral statement about our democracy. Judges in our country have a lot of power. A lot of power. Our Supreme Court takes 50 or 60 cases a year, and it uses them to shape our economy and our political system. In a democracy, when people have that kind of power, they need to be candid about who they are and what they believe.
So you've been candid, and you've said such things, and I'll quote a few of them here. People want someone like me who will stand up to lawlessness among the Republicans and Governor Walker. You've been running a television ad where you talk about the governor's extreme agenda, and there's even a D, as in Democrat, next to your name in that ad. That's a very, very direct appeal to Democratic voters. Wouldn't you have to recuse yourself from a lot of things that might come before the Supreme Court?
No, and in fact, the law is very clear on whether I have to recuse myself. That look,
even on Republican legislation that might come before the court.
Even on Republican legislation. Look, it would be like this. We all know about the photo ID case that was approved by the Supreme Court a few years ago. Each of the justices on those court, many of whom are still there, have written an opinion and or signed on to an opinion about photo ID. Are we going to say they shouldn't be on the next case because they've voiced an opinion? The only reason you sit off a case is if you pre-decide a concrete case before even seeing it. I haven't done that. What I've done—
You say you can be impartial.
Absolutely. But look, our values inform our view of the law. And anybody that says differently is just not being square with people. And I refuse to go down that road, really for this reason. Our court is controlled by right-wing conservatives who were stealth candidates, who told us that they would be umpires, that they would be neutral. And then when they got onto the court, they became rubber stamps for Scott Walker's right-wing agenda. And this idea of nonpartisanship is what allowed it to happen. So I'm just not going that route. I'm being candid with voters. I'm paying that tribute to my fellow citizens that they deserve candor.
I do want to ask you, though, I saw a really interesting quote from Justice Ann Walsh Bradley back in 2015 when she was running for re-election. It was in a debate, and she's part of what might be considered the more liberal part of our 5-2 court right now, the minority. She said in that debate, she said, political parties have agendas, and we can't have courts with agendas because that undermines the public's trust in our decisions. Is she wrong?
Well, look, I don't have an agenda in the sense of, setting out that there are going to be 50 cases and I'm going to decide each this way or that. What I'm trying to do is make clear to voters what my political values are, because we all know that the impact cases, Social Security, the minimum wage, the maximum workday, unemployment compensation, affordable health care, all of those were 5-4 decisions in the U.S. Supreme Court along political lines. We've got to kill this fairy tale of nonpartisan, non-political decisions before it kills us as a democracy. And this campaign isn't a gimmick. It's about putting a dagger through the heart of people, judges and judicial candidates, telling people that they don't have a political role because they do.
Let me ask you to address something that your fellow candidates have said about you. And they said Tim Burns is not a judge. He doesn't have the kind of experience in a Wisconsin courtroom that we need in a Supreme Court justice. What's your response to that?
So my response is this. I am the most qualified lawyer to sit on this court in a long, long time for this reason. I am a lawyer with national reputation. I haven't spent my career processing criminal cases, at 2 hours a piece. I've spent my career all over the country in courtrooms and boardrooms all over the country, standing up to insurance companies, and that's what we need on the court right now. Not someone to process criminal cases. Only 1/3 of the Supreme Court cases are criminal cases. They're using the rest to shape our society in favor of big business and special interests. It's about time to have someone on there who knows how to stand up to big business.
And you think you're the person who can do that? And you
I've
think you would
spent a
work
career
okay
doing
with
it.
the other members of the court, despite the unconventional campaign?
Look, Mike can be real honest with you. I'm not there to work with them. I'm there to replace them. I'm there to change this court. Our court is a national embarrassment. But more than that, it hurts ordinary Wisconsinites every day. And I'm done with it. We're going to change this court.
Tim Burns is an attorney from Madison. He is running for state Supreme Court. We appreciate your time, Mr. Burns. Thanks very much for being with us. Sauk County Judge Michael Skrenak will join us later in our program. But first, Milwaukee County Judge Rebecca Dallett joins me to talk about her bid for the state's highest court. That's next on Up Front.
Up Front with Mike Goucher, brought to you by the American Transmission Company.